Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's surprisingly relevant to our modern world, even though its roots go back thousands of years. We're going to talk about the Sophists, ancient Greek thinkers whose ideas sparked one of history's greatest intellectual battles and continue to echo in our politics, our social media, and even our daily conversations. Have you ever wondered if what truly matters isn't what's right, but who can convince the most people they're right? That's essentially the core philosophy of the Sophists. Imagine ancient Athens, a bustling city, the birthplace of democracy. Before philosophers like Plato and Aristotle came along, there were these incredibly charismatic teachers called Sophists. They weren't your typical academics. They were more like traveling consultants, experts in rhetoric, who taught wealthy young men how to argue, how to speak persuasively, and how to win debates. Not necessarily because they held the truth, but because they mastered the art of convincing. Their most provocative idea, that there is no absolute truth, only persuasion. Think about that for a second. If there's no objective truth, then everything becomes a matter of opinion, and the person who can craft the most compelling argument, the most captivating narrative, is the one who wins. It raises a fascinating and, frankly, a bit unsettling question. What matters more? Actual knowledge, facts, and truth, or the sheer power to sway an audience? This isn't just some dusty historical footnote. Look around you today. In our modern political landscape, how often do we see debates where facts seem to take a back seat to carefully constructed sound bites and emotional appeals? On social media, how many viral posts are celebrated for their factual accuracy versus their ability to trigger a reaction or resonate with a particular group, regardless of the underlying truth? The parallels are striking, aren't they? The Sophists lived in a time where public speaking was everything, where your ability to persuade determined your success in court, in politics, and in society. And in many ways, we're living in a similar era, where the art of influence feels more powerful than ever. So, if truth is relative, and persuasion is king, how did the Sophists wield this power? Well, they were masters of language. To them, words weren't just tools for conveying information. They were like spells. They understood that language could shape perceptions, evoke emotions, and ultimately bend reality to their will. This brings us to their most potent weapon, rhetoric, the art of persuasion. The Sophists didn't just teach eloquent speaking, they taught strategic communication. They'd show you how to frame an argument, how to appeal to an audience's biases, how to make a weak case sound strong and a strong case sound undeniable. One of their most famous figures, Protagoras, famously declared, "Man is the measure of all things." This wasn't just a philosophical statement. It encapsulated their view that individual perception and human judgment determined what was true or good, not some external, universal standard. If I perceive something to be true, then for me, it is true. This subjective view opened the door for language to become the ultimate arbiter of reality. Think about how this plays out in our world today. Advertising, for example. Is a product truly the best, or has it been presented to us in such a way, with such evocative language and imagery, that we believe it to be? Media narratives, how stories are framed, what details are emphasized or omitted, the choice of words, all of these rhetorical techniques influence our understanding of events, often more than the raw facts themselves. And of course, in politics, the carefully crafted speeches, the sound bites designed to go viral, the way opponents are characterized, these are all modern echoes of the Sophists' art of manipulation. They were the original spin doctors, teaching people how to win arguments, not just through logic, but through the sheer force and craft of their words. It's captivating, and a little bit frightening, to realize how much of their ancient wisdom, or trickery, depending on your perspective, still underpins the way we communicate and our influence today. Now you can imagine that not everyone was thrilled with this philosophy. Someone had to stand up for the idea of objective truth, for knowledge, for what is right, regardless of how well it's argued. And that someone was Socrates. This brings us to one of the greatest philosophical conflicts in history: Socrates versus the Sophists. Socrates, as many of you know, famously claimed, "I know that I know nothing." His entire approach was about seeking genuine knowledge, understanding, and uncovering universal truths through rigorous questioning and critical thinking. He believed that knowledge was intrinsically linked to virtue, that truly knowing what is good leads to doing good. For Socrates, truth wasn't relative. It was something to be discovered, something that existed independently of human opinion or clever argument. He saw the Sophists as intellectual mercenaries, charging money to teach people how to win arguments without caring whether those arguments were just or true. He believed they were corrupting the youth, prioritizing superficial persuasion over genuine wisdom and moral integrity. The Sophists, on the other hand, with their belief that knowledge is relative, saw Socrates' quest for absolute truth as naive, even impractical. They'd argue, what good is truth if you can't convince anyone of it? What good is virtue if you can't persuade people to act on it? For them, the practical ability to navigate and succeed in society, to influence others, was paramount. This debate isn't just ancient history. It reverberates powerfully today. How often do we grapple with the question, is truth more important or appearances? In an age of deepfakes, carefully curated online personas, and information overload, distinguishing between what is real and what is merely presented as real has become incredibly challenging. Do we value genuine expertise and factual accuracy? Or are we more easily swayed by charismatic presentations, compelling narratives, and emotional appeals, even if they lack substance? The conflict between Socrates and the Sophists forces us to confront this fundamental tension in our own lives and in our society. It's a reminder that we constantly have to question, to think critically, and to look beyond the surface, beyond the clever words, to try and discern what is truly valuable, what is truly true, and what is merely persuasive. It's about deciding whether we want to live in a world where facts matter, or one where perception is the only reality. So, what do you think? Are we living in a new age of sophistry, where the art of persuasion often triumphs over genuine truth? Or is the Socratic quest for knowledge and objective truth more vital than ever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a conversation worth having. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this discussion thought-provoking, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history, philosophy, and how they shape our modern world. Your support really helps the channel grow. We'll catch you in the next one.